Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today we're embarking on a really fascinating journey. We're looking into a single piece of media that, well, on the surface seems to be about a celebrity incident.
Hmm.
But as we start to peel back the layers, it really reveals so much more. Things about protest, public perception, and importantly, the deliberate construction of a narrative.
Yeah.
Our source today is this audio file. It's titled, Right After Attacking Trump Supporters, Shia LaBeouf Got a Taste of American Justice.mp3. And our mission, really, is to go beyond just the headline. We want to extract the core information, dissect the narrative being presented,
Right.
and truly understand how a very specific viewpoint can frame, maybe even reshape, an event in the listener's mind.
That's exactly it. What's particularly compelling here, I think, is observing how the careful selection of language, the choice of focus and the underlying intent within just one source can profoundly shape how we understand these high-profile incidents.
Yeah.
We're not just looking at what the source says happened, but critically, how this particular source wants us, the listener, to see it, and what that tells us about the source's own agenda, maybe.
Yeah, it's almost like a case study in persuasion.
It really is.
Yeah.
A master class, you could say, whether you agree with the viewpoint or not.
Okay, so let's unpack this then.
Yeah.
To really grasp how this source builds its narrative, we should probably start by looking at its central character.
Hmm.
The piece immediately zeroes in on actor Shia LaBeouf. But it doesn't just, mention his name. It carefully paints a picture, almost creates a persona for him before even getting into the incident itself.
Right.
It describes him as well-known, sure, maybe typecast from Transformers,
Okay.
but then it quickly pivots. It highlights his history of fighting and just doing general crazy stuff.
Setting a precedent.
Exactly. This background, the source implies, is what leads him to lead an anti-Trump protest. It sort of frames him as inherently inclined towards this kind of public display, suggesting his past behavior predicts his current actions.
It's a classic framing technique, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're not just introducing a person, they're preloading him with a specific reputation, creating a lens,
Yeah.
a lens through which all his subsequent actions are meant to be viewed. The narrative then moves pretty swiftly from this general public persona to the very specific incident the source claims occurred.
Okay.
It reports that while LaBeouf was, and I'm quoting here, out with his mob of bullies screaming at Trump supporters.
Mob of bullies, wow.
Yeah, loaded language right there. Then it says, the cops rolled up and busted him something fierce.
Busted him something fierce. Again, very evocative.
Incredibly loaded. It doesn't just describe an arrest. It immediately paints this picture of, aggression on one side and this decisive, almost punitive consequence delivered by the authorities.
Absolutely. The choice of words is just crucial there. It feels designed to get a specific emotional response from you. So, turning to the incident itself, the source lays out some very specific accusations. What do these accusations tell us? Specifically, the bit about stealing a scarf and shoving. What does that focus reveal?
Well, according to this source, LaBeouf was arrested for stealing a Trump supporter scarf off his neck and then shoving him.
Okay.
Those are the precise actions the source highlights. They're presented as the basis for the arrest and the, quote, taste of American justice he supposedly got. What's significant is the specificity. Theft and physical assault, these aren't minor things.
Right.
And by presenting them as these direct, concrete actions leading to immediate justice, the source reinforces its narrative. It's like clear transgression, deserved consequence.
It simplifies a potentially complex interaction
Right.
into a really clear-cut case of victim and perpetrator, apparently driven by political differences.
Spot on. That simplification is powerful in shaping perception.
Yeah, it really is. But while LaBeouf is the immediate focus, what I find particularly, fascinating and maybe a bit unsettling is how the source then spends significant time on the other protesters.
Mm-hmm.
It paints them with these extremely vivid, distinct characterizations. It feels like the LaBeouf incident is just a springboard.
A springboard to paint a much broader and, like you said, frankly disturbing picture of the whole group. You've hit on a critical point there.
It seems like it.
This isn't just about LaBeouf anymore. It's about casting the entire protest. And, by extension, maybe the political viewpoint it represents in a really negative light.
And the language used.
Oh, the language is quite striking. They're referred to as zombies.
Zombies.
Yeah, and so messed up in the head, literally looking like frickin' zombies.
Wow.
The source even asks rhetorically, what are these people on? suggesting maybe they're on like some serious drugs or something.
So speculation presented almost as observation.
Pretty much. It goes on to describe them swaying back and forth, back and forth. There's also this brief mention of that blonde, like holding up her hand with like a symbol on it.
But no detail on the symbol.
Nope, none. It's
Yeah.
just left hanging there, open to negative interpretation by the listener.
Which raises a big question, doesn't it? What's the rhetorical effect of this kind of description? Using terms like zombies over and over, it feels like more than just opinion.
It absolutely is. It's a classic example of dehumanization,
Right.
a really powerful persuasive technique. It's designed to strip opponents of their humanity, and by doing that, strip the validity from their beliefs or actions. It positions them as, fundamentally irrational or even dangerous.
So you don't have to engage with their arguments if they're just zombies.
Precisely. Dehumanization is, well, highly effective, though often ethically dubious, let's say, in political talk. By depicting the protesters as zombies or brain dead, the source sidesteps any need to engage with their actual ideas or grievances. Instead, it just invites the listener to dismiss them completely, to see them as this collective menace, an irrational other that's incapable of legitimate thought or action.
And the source also mentions their chant, doesn't it? The "He will not divide us" chant.
It does. It notes the chant, "He will not divide us," presents it, but then immediately follows it with the source's own host questioning their mental state.
So the juxtaposition undermines the chant itself.
Exactly. It kind of twists the message of unity into more evidence of their supposed irrationality. And then the source moves to these incredibly judgmental and, frankly, quite alarming interpretations.
Alarming how?
It suggests that in this scenario, Darwin's law would just take effect.
Seriously?
Yeah, and the survival of the fittest would move on, and the thinning of the herd would just occur naturally.
Wow, okay. That's extreme.
It's not just an observation. It's a very strong, dismissive, and, alarming characterization. It positions these individuals as almost disposable, like elements in some natural selection process.
So bringing this back to you, the listener, what does all this mean? How does this intense, highly negative portrayal of the protesters, not just LaBeouf's shape, the overall message the source is pushing, it's clearly doing more than just reporting an event.
Oh, absolutely. If we connect the dots to the bigger picture, what's really happening here is the source is using this specific incident with LaBeouf's and the protesters as a kind of vehicle.
A vehicle for what?
To frame a much broader political viewpoint. It's a classic move. Take one event, maybe exaggerate or focus on certain parts, and then make sweeping generalizations about an entire group. It asserts this is, and I quote, another situation where a crazed liberal attacking a Trump supporter, stealing their clothing, invading their personal space, attacking them.
Another situation, implying a pattern.
Precisely. It's not just reporting. It's a direct accusation and a moral judgment against a whole political stance. It suggests this isn't isolated, it's typical behavior in the source's view. And the piece then argues, quite pointedly, that these individuals, who claim to represent love-trumping hate, are ironically the ones who perpetuate hatred towards their fellow man because of their support for a candidate.
So accusing them of hypocrisy.
Directly. And then it wraps up that section by calling their actions disgusting and reinforces the earlier language by calling them brain-dead zombies.
It really hammers that home. And it doesn't stop there, does it? The source doesn't just report or judge. It actively tries to get listeners involved.
That's right. It basically gives them marching orders.
Yeah. It invites them to comment below, subscribe for updates, give us a thumbs up, and share this report on your social networks. It's clearly trying to build a community around this specific viewpoint, pushing you, the listener, to become an active participant in spreading its message.
Yeah.
Which, reinforces what people often call an echo chamber.
Exactly. It's more than just a casual invite. It's a strategic move to cultivate that echo chamber.
Yeah.
By encouraging comments and shares, the source uses things like social proof and peer validation.
Right. Seeing others agree makes the message seem stronger.
Exactly. It ensures the message resonates and gets amplified within a sympathetic audience, often just reinforcing existing biases instead of encouraging critical thought. And crucially, it promotes a specific platform for taking the discussion further, moving it off maybe more public social media.
Ah, the Candid app part.
Yes. The source urges listeners to get the Candid app from their app store. It describes it as a place to have some spirited political open discussion, honest discussion, anonymous discussion.
Anonymous discussion.
Outside of the prying algorithms and the censoring algorithms of Facebook and Twitter.
Okay, now this is where this strategy feels really sophisticated. They're not just saying share it, they're saying take the conversation to this other controlled environment. What's the significance of pushing people towards an anonymous discussion platform that's explicitly positioned as being outside mainstream social media algorithms?
That's a really crucial piece of this puzzle. By promoting the Candid app and framing it as this space for anonymous discussion free from censoring algorithms, the source taps into a real concern many people have about platforms like Facebook and Twitter.
The censorship concern, yeah.
Right. It implies that true or honest discussion can only happen away from that perceived scrutiny or moderation. And this approach, it serves a dual purpose, really.
Okay.
First, it legitimizes the viewpoints shared within this new closed platform. It suggests they're somehow more authentic because they're uncensored. Second, it actively works to, well, circumvent traditional media gatekeepers and maybe public discourse norms. It kind of creates its own space.
And frames it very positively.
Oh, yeah. It frames joining this app as a way to make the news great again. And it directly tells the listener, it gives them the power to impact the global narrative.
Wow. Big claims.
Huge claims.
Yeah.
This isn't just about reporting an incident anymore. It's about actively trying to shape the broader information landscape and recruit allies to that specific cause, empowering them within this self-selected community.
It's about building an alternative media ecosystem.
Precisely. Where its particular narrative can thrive, potentially unimpeded.
Okay, so let's recap. We've taken a deep dive into this one particular source, looking at how it presents an incident involving Shia LaBeouf and a protest. We've seen how specific details get selected, like the specific accusations against LaBeouf, and how incredibly strong, really opinionated language is used to frame the event and the participants, labeling them zombies and crazed liberals.
Yeah.
And we also looked at how it strategically guides the listener towards specific actions and even specific platforms.
And understanding sources like this is just so crucial. Because they don't just convey facts, or even just alleged facts. They meticulously construct and convey a perspective. They tell you not just what happened, but often very clearly how you should feel about it. And in this case, even where you should go to continue the conversation, presumably with like-minded people. This specific source is really a prime example of media that aims to influence not just your understanding, but also your actions and your social interactions.
Yeah.
Often by stirring up strong emotions.
Yeah.
And leveraging a sense of shared grievance against some other.
So as you go about your day, maybe think about this. When you encounter information online, especially about politically charged events, try to consider not just what is being said, but how it's being said, who is saying it, and maybe what actions they're encouraging you to take, even subtly. How does understanding these deliberate rhetorical strategies, the loaded language, the calls to action, how does knowing about that influence how you interpret the message itself, and maybe even how you choose to engage with it or not engage with it?
That's a great point. Something to definitely mull over
Yeah.
as you seek out your next nugget of knowledge, and maybe pay a little more attention to the filters through which that knowledge is being delivered to you.